And I said, wow, what's your secret? He said, there's no secret. He said, you paint one room in a home in a day. Everyone knows that's possible. You just put the number of people into the number of rooms, and it's a numbers game. So we find the right number of painters, train them on the quality and the skill, and off they go to get it done in a day. And I remember saying to Jim, the owner of the company at the time, have you tried franchising? He tried and couldn't make it work. So I said, I think I can help.
Everyone, and welcome to No Limits with Kristin Andree. We are here today with Brian Scudamore, who is the CEO and founder of 1-800-GOT-JUNK. So I am super, super excited to have you today. And more so, not just for the 1-800-GOT-JUNK, but for those of you guys watching on live stream, Brian just came out with a book called WTF, which is not what you're thinking. It stands for Willing to Fail. So I tore this book up. I mean, I read a lot anyway, but this was a great read, and it was an easy one that I went through kind of laughing and smiling a good bit the whole time. So tell us.
You could relate.
I could totally relate. So the WTF stands for Willing to Fail. And I think any one of us that have been in business or launched businesses, we've done a lot of failing.
Mm-hmm.
So give us your background. Huh?
Yeah, you can't be an entrepreneur without lots of failure.
Exactly.
Failure is our tuition. I went to school, but I dropped out of grade school. I dropped out of college after talking my way in. And all my education has really been out there learning on the streets, so to speak, learning from other people, mentors, people I would ask questions to, and just getting out there and doing. Starting a business and making mistakes has been the best education I've ever had. But you said, give me a bit of the background.
Yeah.
I started 1-800-GOT-JUNK. It's one of 4 brands that we have under the O2E brands umbrella. O2E stands for Ordinary to Exceptional.
Yep.
22 years into the business, we started adding brands, but we can get to that later. The first one started, I was in a McDonald's drive-thru of all places. There was a beat up old pickup truck with plywood sides. It said Mark's Hauling on the side. And I looked at that truck while I was in a McDonald's drive-thru, contemplating my future, and decided that if I went out and bought a pickup truck, I too could go haul junk and find a way to pay for college.
Yeah.
So there I was, one course short of graduation from high school, but I talked my way into college, needed the money to pay for it, bought that truck, formed a company called the Rubbish Boys. And there I went to start hauling away junk and charging a fee when someone had reno waste, spring cleaning materials, whatever it might be. I'd take it off their hands, charge them a fee for it. And that basic business model paid for my education. But ironically, I was learning so much more about business 3 years into my degree by running a business versus studying in school, and made the bold decision to drop out. And I say bold decision because my father is a liver transplant surgeon, obviously a big fan of higher education.
Yep.
And there I was telling him that I was leaving university to become a full-time junk man. And it took him about 15 years before he got on the same page and realized I made the right decision.
He got over it after a while. Yeah, I noticed that when I was reading. I was like, because I was putting myself in your spot as the entrepreneur, but also in the parent spot where I'm just like, if my daughter comes and calls me tomorrow that she's dropping out of school, I may cry. But it seems like it was the right decision. So yeah,
it was the right decision in hindsight. I got a great education on business. I learned so much about hiring people, training, building a culture, how to franchise, how to brand. I mean, it's endless. It's been unbelievable for me. Now, if I have kids, but if my kids were going to university, I probably would worry if they dropped out trying to become a doctor or trying to become a lawyer.
True.
I mean, these are things clearly you need the papers for. But to be an entrepreneur, I don't know if school is really something that you need. I think you can get the school of hard knocks by getting out there and talking to people and learning from other business people.
Completely agree with you. And you had some interesting lessons, and that's why I like what I thought was so neat about the book is that so many ones I read on business or development talks about here's what to do, here's what to do. And a lot of yours focus on here's where I kind of screwed up. And, you talked a lot about culture because you talked about a lot of bad hires, if you will, or bringing the wrong people into the
Mhm.
organization?
Yeah, I think as entrepreneurs, we make mistakes, of course, but we make a lot of people mistakes. We think, oh, we've got this idea, this business, it needs to grow. We just need bodies. And when we compromise, and this isn't just entrepreneurs, but anyone who's in a leadership position who hires and puts people into place, if you have the wrong people and they're in the wrong seats, it's a recipe for disaster.
Right.
I had 11 employees when I was a half a million in revenue, 5 years into the business. And there I was, unhappy with the people I was surrounded with. They weren't the clean cut professionals I was looking for. They weren't fun. They weren't energized, optimistic people. And I decided I had the wrong people. I had 9 bad apples, one spoils the whole bunch.
Yep.
I just decided I'm going to get rid of all 11. And so I brought them in for a morning meeting and told them that this wasn't working out for me. And I started by saying, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that as your leader, I've let you down. I didn't recruit the right people, train you, give you the support you've needed. But ultimately, this isn't working the way it should. And if I'm going to build the brand, the clean, shiny, friendly, uniformed 1-800-GOT-JUNK business I see in my mind, I needed to find different people. And I started again. So going from 5 trucks down to myself, all I can drive at once is 1 truck, and rebuilding the business. It took a lot of pain and a lot of time before I was able to rebuild with the right people.
And you had a clear vision, though. One of the things that's interesting about, not interesting, but really unique about your brand, I'm sure you know this, is when you think of junk and hauling junk, you don't think of clean, shiny, uniformed, friendly. You know, one of the, I'd mentioned to you before we got on air, is when my office, when I was up in Connecticut, there was a franchise behind us, and they were the nicest guys and just overly friendly and loved being there and enjoyed what they did. And that's
Right.
unique in that industry. And I feel like that's probably what catapulted you and your other brands forward, is the personal touch.
I think it was just a simple recipe that we still live by today: is hire happy people. Hire people that know how to have fun and smile and want to be a part of the game we're playing. I look at Starbucks as a brand that I admire. Every time I go into Starbucks, was there this morning, the baristas, even when they don't recognize you and they just see you as another customer coming in the door, they have a friendly connection, a smile, a hello, a good morning, have a great day, whatever they're saying when you enter and when you leave. They know, Starbucks knows how to hire happy people.
Sure.
And that's really our secret for success. Start with great people that see the world as glass half full and
Exactly.
passionate about something and know how to treat people. And I think there's not enough businesses out there doing that today.
Why is that a challenge for most brands and businesses?
I think most brands they hire people that they think might be smart, might be experienced, might be good at a job, or they might just be desperate sometimes and try and hire anyone that seems okay. But really, you got to be very picky, very selective when you bring people on board, because your culture is shaped by every single person that comes into your organization, whether you like it or not.
Absolutely.
So every time you make a mistake, every time you bring on someone who's out in a vehicle for 1-800-GOT-JUNK or Shack Shine, any of our businesses, if we don't get that friendly, happy, smiley person, it rubs off on the customer, and it gives a not favorable impression of who we really are and want to be.
And when you have the opposite, when you have what you do, where it's people that are energetic and happy to be there, that's just a gravitational pull to attract others.
Absolutely. Enthusiasm is contagious. If
And
you
so
have
is
an
uniqueness
enthusiastic,
too.
pardon me?
Something different and uniqueness, I think, is contagious as well.
Yeah, I think so. You know, people want to do something and make a difference in the world. And if they see that you're doing something in a revolutionary, different way, even if it's a simple business like 1-800-GOT-JUNK, and it's just, hey, this is just hauling junk. No, this isn't hauling junk. This is clean, shiny trucks, friendly, uniformed drivers, on-time service, upfront rates. We provide a different experience than all others. And it's that bar that we strive for that has people looking at our business and saying, wow, I really want to be a part of that.
It's the energy and the excitement. The business and what they get as a result, I think, is huge. But you have some unique attraction things you do. So one of the things that stood out to me when I was reading WTF was you called it the blue wig brain? That
Blue
to me,
Wig Spirit.
Blue Wig
Spirit.
That was the coolest the Vegas trip, when you talked about your Vegas trip, tell the listeners about that, because I'm sitting there reading this going, that would have been cool. I would have completely followed them wherever they were going around Vegas.
Right. Yeah. So the short story is we had a bunch of franchise partners who were complaining that they weren't getting the marketing support from us that we needed. Now, we were a small brand trying to grow. We didn't have a ton of money, didn't have a ton of experience. And so we were figuring it out as we were going. Yep. But what was interesting is I said, okay, if we need to build more awareness and you're telling us we need more traditional advertising like radio and TV and stuff we can't afford, if I'm going to show you as a franchise owner that isn't the case, that we don't need that traditional advertising, we can do it in a guerrilla marketing way, I need to have something up my sleeve that says, let me demonstrate and prove to you that guerrilla marketing works. So I said to our franchise partners, where are the most difficult cities that you can think of to stand out in? People said Las Vegas, New York, Times Square. Come to Vegas, and we're going to prove that in a noisy, energetic environment that we can stand out from the crowd, that we can get noticed, that people will be remarking on us because we're different, because we're loud, we're proud, and all that sort of stuff. So I bought everybody a blue wig, $3, a 1-800-GOT-JUNK bowling shirt, $26. So we were armed with $29 plus airfare to go off to Vegas. And the first thing we did is we took these spray bottles with water and little mini 1-800-GOT-JUNK tattoos, removable tattoos, and we went to the Hard Rock Hotel. And I remember we're in the bar, we're in the casino, we're walking around and we're giving out tattoos to people and everyone's getting all marked up with the 1-800-GOT-JUNK brand. And everybody was coming up to us and they started almost a line or a circle around us saying, well, what are you guys doing? Are you a band? Are you performers? Who are you? Are you on a bachelor party? What's the deal? And I said, hey, we're just here having fun and talking about our business. And you had people who were wearing Armani suits, who were decked out to the nines. And there's us in $29 standing out. Everyone wanted to be a part of the party that we were hosting. And we weren't buying anyone drinks. We were just giving out tattoos, but people thought we were the coolest thing ever. And I showed our franchise partners, we demonstrated together that we didn't need much money and we didn't need anything but a spirit, this blue wig spirit, a little bit crazy, standing out from the crowd. And there we were, surrounded by people who wanted to be a part of our business and our organization just because we clearly had this enthusiasm is contagious type attitude.
I loved it. There were a lot of good nuggets, which we'll dive into. That was my absolute favorite story from the book. And I'm reading it going, oh, I wish I would have been there. It solidified for me that it doesn't take huge budgets and huge everything to get there. So we're going to pause for a minute. When we come back after the break, we're going to dive in a little bit more with Brian and the additional brands and how he's grown his business even further. So we'll be back in just a minute. Hey everyone, it's Kristin. Be sure and visit my website at www.andreegroup.com. That's www.andreegroup.com. And while you're there, be sure to download my white paper, Top 10 Reasons Your Business Isn't Growing Fast Enough. Now get out there and create your no limits moment. Hi everyone, welcome back to No Limits with Kristin Andree. We are spending some time with Brian Scudamore, the CEO of 1-800-GOT-JUNK and O2E Brands. And before the break, we were talking about your cool Vegas experience. Unlike most people are going to Vegas for totally different reasons. But, kind of the guerrilla marketing. And I was so impressed, but I was also encouraged by the fact that, as a smaller company or startup, it doesn't take millions and millions of advertising dollars. It takes a handful of people who are having fun and enjoying and putting out the energy that others want to be around.
Right. Even when I talked about Starbucks earlier, I remember when they were at $1 billion in sales, their budget was $10 million on advertising.
Really?
A very small fraction of Exactly, because they got out there and they just built based on word of mouth, culture,
Mm-hmm.
doing fun things, giving out coffees, being at events, and doing things that didn't cost a lot of money. It was a lot of word of mouth and a lot of PR that really grew the Starbucks brand. Now, once you get to a certain level, as we are today, 1-800-GOT-JUNK is a $370 million brand. We spend, millions and millions on radio advertising, because once you've built a brand through guerrilla marketing and you can afford to advertise, you then spend a level of money on advertising that helps keep you at a certain level so you can continue that aggressive growth.
Continue to grow, which, you have built it around service. I mean, it certainly was guerrilla marketing that started, but I do feel like I'm the type of person who I don't always buy on price. Like, I'm definitely a convenience, ease, but I'm also an energy person. So I would pay extra. I mean, you could charge me more to have a friendly team that comes and shows up when they say they're going to do that. The first time they say we'll be there between 8 and 5, I'm pretty much done. But you've expanded beyond just the junk calling business. So tell us about where the company's grown over these years.
Sure. 22 years into the business, I was hungry as a leader, as an entrepreneur, for something more. Of course, knew the opportunity to grow 1-800-GOT-JUNK. We were going to continue to drive revenue. We're in Canada, the United States, Australia, sold out in every city. I said, what can we do with all the learning of how to run a sales center, how to create software that does the booking and dispatch, how to market, how to get PR? And so we said, okay, what other home services can we get into? We started looking and couldn't find anything, but it was almost serendipitous in how it was set up. I was on Facebook. I put a message out to friends and networks saying, hey, I'm looking at getting my home painted. Anyone know any good companies? And I was suggested, call these people. Come in, exactly what I expected in a painter, smoking, smelled like cigarette smoke.
Oh.
They weren't clean cut.
Yeah.
Confidence in their abilities. The third guy comes in and he says, listen, my prices are the same as everyone else. My quality is amazing. I've done this for 22 years. But what's different and what caught my eye is he said, when we agree on painting day, we'll have your house painted that entire day. You come home, floor to ceilings, moldings, trim, everything will be immaculate. And I couldn't believe what he was actually saying. But I said, okay, if he's done this for 22 years, it must be a great business. And he must have the experience. So I trusted him. I came home 6:30 p.m. on the day of painting, and he delivered. Everything was done as he said it would be, the quality, and 3 coats of paint in the kitchen because it was a darker color, and I was blown away. And I said, wow, what's your secret? He said, there's no secret. He said, you paint one room in a home in a day. Everyone knows that's possible. You just put the number of people into the number of rooms. And it's a numbers game. So we find the right number of painters, train them on the quality and the skill, and off they go to get it done in a day. And I remember saying to Jim, the owner of the company at the time, have you tried franchising? He tried and couldn't make it work. So I said, I think I can help. And today we have over 50 franchise owners. We're creating what will be the largest painting company on the planet. And we're having a ton of fun creating opportunities for not people that want to be painters, but people that dream about building an empire. And that's pretty exciting stuff.
It's very exciting because you're taking an ordinary, you hate to say an ordinary business, but it is. It's the stuff around our house that we all need and that mostly are typically pains in the rear to get done.
Yeah, painting is something, there's a ton of painters out there and they can probably all do the same job, but getting it done quickly is a big differentiator as a brand. The level of service, the size of our company now and the promises we stand behind and the type of happy people we recruit, it makes a difference. And so when you say it's an ordinary business, it's absolutely an ordinary business. And what drives us, and I know you referenced O2E Brands, our parent company that we've created. O2E Brands stands for ordinary to exceptional. Everything that drives us forward is taking ordinary home services and making them exceptional through customer experience, and taking ordinary people and teaching them how to be exceptional entrepreneurs with our systems and processes. And it's been a ton of fun. It's been incredibly rewarding, and there's no stopping us. We went on to create You Move Me, a moving brand, Shack Shine, windows, gutters, power washing. And it's been fun. It's been attracting these late 20s, early 30s, young, hungry entrepreneurs that want to be a part of something, that want to build something exceptional together. And it's pretty cool.
You pretty much got, anything having to do with a house, moving in, moving out, or fixing, you're pretty much covering all these brands here, or all the needs.
Yeah, there's lots more things that need to be done around a home that we will get to at some point.
I was just thinking that. I was like, I see you moving in that direction. So, but it's,
Absolutely.
One of the words, and you've used this word 4 or 5 times, is fun. And I subscribe to that. I'm definitely the type that if I didn't love what I was doing, it would be crushing for me. But I don't know that a lot of people, and I'm sure you realize it, but I don't think a lot of people realize that work can be fun and owning a business can be fun. You've just got to make it that way.
There were 3 of us out for dinner last night with a person that we were interviewing for an executive role. And they asked myself and our COO and our managing director of one of the brands, what do you do for fun? And it was awesome because our COO and the managing director both said, work.
Yeah,
they've got kids, they've got families, and they've got balance. But jokes aside, they really do. And we all really love the work that we do.
Yeah.
Because we make a difference in people's lives. We watch people grow and have their own opportunities. And if I think of what motivates me, I'm not a money guy. When I throw out numbers like 444 million is what we'll do in revenue across all 4 brands, that is just giving people a size and a scope of what we're building. But it's never the money. I don't see selling the company, taking it public. It's not about the cash. It's about how do we grow great entrepreneurs and watch them be successful? How do we be a part of building something bigger and better together? And so it's it not only is it fun, but it's rewarding. You feel a sense of purpose when if I say I'm not a money motivated guy, but I see one of our franchise partners go out and buy some fancy new car that they've always dreamed of having, that excites me.
Sure.
I'll never have fancy cars, but I love seeing that they're hitting their goals and dreams.
I love it. I think that's so great. And it's also setting a model for young entrepreneurs of how to grow. So we're going to take another short break. And when we come back, we'll wrap up our time with Brian and take this all and figure out how you can use this information in your own life and in your own business. We'll be back in just a minute. Hey everyone, check out my podcast, No Limits with Kristin Andree, on Tuesday nights at 7:30. We will tackle the things holding you back and the limits you set on yourself and equip you with some strategies to lead more intentional lives. Podcast launches every Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. on facebook.com/Andree Group. That's facebook.com/ANDREE Group. We'll see you there. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to No Limits with Kristin Andree. We are wrapping up our time with Brian Scudamore of 1-800-GOT-JUNK and O2E Brands. And I appreciate you sharing your insight because you've certainly built a mega business. And most, like you mentioned, aside from the revenue and all that, you're really impacting a lot of lives, not just your clients and customers, but the franchisees that you have. But, everything we've talked about and you've shared, at the end of every episode, we like to issue a challenge to our listeners, something that you feel like will get them going in the right direction. So Mr. Scudamore, what would you recommend? What do you want to see our listeners do this week?
Sure. So I'm a big fan of a process that I created called creating a painted picture. If you think of where you want to go, what's the destination? What does it look like, feel like? How does it act? What's that vision in your mind as a leader or an entrepreneur? Don't think how to get there, but think, what does that picture look like? And so a quick story on it. Back in 1997, sat down on my parents' dock at their summer cottage, and I was in a doom loop feeling like, wow, I don't know if I can make this business work. We're at $1 million. I don't know if I'm, as a high school dropout, university dropout, the guy to take it to the next level. So I put all the negativity aside. I pulled out a sheet of paper, and 1-page double-sided, I filled out what I called my vision. I said we'd be in the top 30 metros in North America. It worked in Vancouver. Why couldn't it work in every city bigger? I said we'd be the FedEx of junk removal. And I said we'd be on the Oprah Winfrey show. And I created this vision, this detailed picture on one page, double-sided, that I started to share with people. And I said, I'm not telling us how we're going to get there, but here is where we're going. Are you in? Are you in for the ride? And half my employees and friends and family said, yeah, I am in for the ride. Let's do this. And the rest, I had employees that left, that didn't believe. But a painted picture is this powerful document that allows you to really define what does the vision of the future look like and what do you want people to follow. And if anyone wants to see a painted picture, they could send me a message on Instagram at Brian Scudamore and just say painted picture, and I'll fire you off a link to what one of our painted pictures looks like so you can understand see in theory what it might look like.
What it was. And I've got the book for you. Those of you guys haven't checked it out, WTF Willing to Fail. You talked about it in there. You actually put the painted picture in there, that first one you wrote at the cottage.
Yeah.
It mentioned Oprah and all that. It was really cool to read that because you could visualize it. It was truly painting a picture.
Yeah, I know it all completely came true. And the reason it came true is we were clear, not just in my mind, but clear on paper, shared with others around us where we were going. Right. And then it was up to the team to figure out, well, how are we going to get there? Yeah. And we made magic happen.
You did. You definitely did. Well, Brian, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with them. You guys go out and pick up a copy of the WTF Willing to Fail book. Lots of good info and nuggets in there, and tons and tons and tons of inspiration. So, and don't forget, pretty much anything you need around your house. If you're not doing it now, you're probably going to be offering it in a few years. So I thank you, Brian, for being with us and sharing your insight with our listeners, and continued success to you as you take on all these new brands.
Thank you, Kristin. Appreciate you having me on your podcast, and enjoyed all the questions. So thank you again.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So, all right, everybody, until next time, take all this good information and keep pushing past those limits.